Dear students, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to our lecture in strategic management. In this lecture, we'll focus on strategy formulation and defining the vision. To discuss various aspects of strategy formulation and explain the relevance of business vision. What is a strategy formulation? We can define strategy formulation as a process of determining appropriate course of action. This will help achieving the organizational objectives and thus accomplishing organizational purpose. In formulation of our strategy, we are trying to modify the current objectives, which are the current situation, and the strategies in a way that will help the organization to be successful. So it bridge the gap between the current situation and the future situation. This will help the organization to try to have sustainable competitive advantage over time. When formulating our strategy, we have to be practical. Practically mean that the organization has to consider their strengths, their weakness, the opportunities in the external environment, and also to study and analyze the risks associated with forces coming from outside the organization. So this means that we need to have situational analysis before we formulate our strategies. There are four primary steps in this phase. First, we have to review the objectives and the strategies of the organization, and you know that these objectives and strategy have been developed and identified and evaluated in the period of diagnosing of environmental factors, internal and external forces. Then the second step, to identify the range of strategic alternatives to address the three levels of strategy formulation. These levels actually are corporate strategy, business strategy, and functional strategies. This includes all the critical issues related to these alternatives. After identifying the alternatives, we identify or evaluate each one, comparing advantages and disadvantages, and also how these alternatives will affect our success, and also how these alternatives will address the critical issues identified in the previous step. Then we will come to the final step, which identifying the alternatives that should be implemented or recommended based on the advantage and the disadvantages. As we mentioned before, there are three levels of strategy that we have to deal with in this strategic formulation stage. As we see, we have the corporate level strategy, and then we have the competitive strategy or business strategy, and then we have functional strategy. First is the corporate level strategy. The corporate level strategy actually is looking at the organization as a whole. In this aspect, the strategy will concern with the broad decisions about the total organization scope and the direction to achieve its mission. In corporate strategy, we can choose between three types of strategies. First one is the growth or directional strategy. This means that we will decide are we going to have stability or going to grow in different degrees, and how do we accomplish this. The second strategy is a portfolio strategy. This means to decide the number of lines of business, to identify if we are going to have much concentration or diversification. Diversification means that you have different types of business and not focusing on only one business. The third component of corporate level strategy is parenting strategy. This means allocating resources and managing our capabilities and activities across the portfolio. We have to ask ourselves how or where do we put special emphasis, and how much do we integrate our various lines of business. The second level of strategies is called competitive strategy or business level strategy. It involves deciding how the company will compete within each line of business or a strategic business unit. For example, in a bank, they can provide different types of services. Each service will have a business line. They sell consumer accounts, consumer loans, credit cards, commercial loans, and wealth management or consulting services. So what is the focus of the company in each line of business strategy? Each company will try to compete successfully in each of the lines of business that the company has chosen to engage in by different ways. The best one is to look for the capabilities of the company and try to capitalize in these capabilities to have a sustainable competitive advantage. So successful competition will involve building unique, strong or distinctive competencies in one or several areas that is important to success and using them to maintain a competitive edge over competitors. How to do that? For example, if the company has superior technologies, if the company has product features and highly quality products, better manufacturing technologies and techniques, and they have highly skills related to human resources, they have superior sales and distribution channels, and they have better customer service over competitors. In this way, the company can focus on all or some of these capabilities to have a sustainable competitive advantage over them. The third level is the functional strategy, which is related to the functional area of the organization. As we see, the organization has marketing activities, finance, production and operations, research and development, human resource management. So these are short-term strategies deal with how each functional area and units will carry out its functional activities to be effective and maximize the resource productivity. They help the organization to achieve the corporate strategy and the business strategy. So each functional area will work in line with the overall organization strategies. So the market strategy will deal with all the activities related to the marketing mix, like product, service, choice and features, pricing, the markets and how to target these market segments, distribution channels, promotion. So the market strategy will deal with all the activities related to the marketing mix, like product, service, choice and features, pricing, the markets and how to target these market segments, distribution channels, promotion. By the same way, the human resource strategy will include the following decisions and the activities. Also, research and development strategy will include the following decisions and activities.